You were mentioned with the Cowboys and becoming a coach with the Cowboys. Did you have any talks with Jerry? Has being an NFL coach part of your goals, long-term goals?
Sure, it's part of my long-term goals. I did not talk to Jerry about it. I think they went through a thorough process for them and got to a place where, they felt like Brian was the guy. And I never worked with Brian or any of that, but, I'll always pull for the Cowboys.
Right.
But yeah, of course, that's a long-term goal of mine of one day to get back there. And when the right opportunity comes, and I think for me to be able to coach my sons and take over a program and win back-to-back state championships, and at that level, it's been really, really special and memories that I'll keep with me for the rest of my life. And the right time, the right opportunity comes, I'm excited to kind of embark on that next chapter.
Because I know you've been linked with Tennessee and different things, different times. How do you go about that process? I mean, you wait until your son finishes and...
Yeah, I try not to put a timetable on that. I think it's just like, when people call, I listen. And I think a big part of that as an assistant coach is, executing the vision of the head coach.
Right.
And I know I still have a lot to learn and grow. And, and I think when the right opportunity opens up, then I'll be ready to take advantage of it. But I'm not in a rush from that standpoint. I still got another son that I'm getting to have an opportunity to coach. I've been able to build a program, have a lot of success in the last couple of years. And so when that presents itself, I'm excited for, when that opportunity comes. Right now, I think it's just, like you always do, you take advantage of the opportunities you have, and you keep learning and growing, and you try to get yourself in a place that you're ready and equipped when those opportunities do present themselves.
Is it tough because you have so much invested here, like you said, with your family, and instead of being a coach, you got to leave?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think those are the conversations I've been having the last 4 years, with my wife, and I think when you sign up for that, you know what you're signing up for, and that's part of the gig, right? I mean, those are coaches that have been fired and those that are fixing to be fired, and that's part of the journey that you have. And I think for me, it's continue to learn and grow, and certainly if you join somebody's staff, you want to be an opportunity that you can be equipped and be a sponge, much like when I was a young player. And so I think for me, you take on that same approach. So I think a few of those opportunities I've had, and you pass some of those up? Do you get another opportunity? I try not to look in the rearview mirror from that standpoint, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. But at the same time, I think that is a goal, and the aspirations that I have one day.
So you have to call to get out in 5 years.
Yeah.
Does it seem like it's been 5 years since you played the game?
I think it does, because technically it's really probably about 7 years.
You said that.
Yeah, I did. What's the old Parcells line? He says, he's retired and hadn't told anybody yet. Maybe that, but it flies by. You start watching the Hall of Fame and you say, I played against that guy. I can't believe he didn't get in. What an unbelievable player. And I'm excited for them. Those guys that have the opportunity. Obviously, Antonio, somebody I watched and kind of went against. Coming in the same year, and our careers are very similar in a lot of ways, and so you're happy for them, and reach out to them and congratulate them on what an accomplishment that is.
You were in the Cowboys organization. Now that you're out of it, any guesses why you can't get back to the Super Bowl, can't get over the hump? I know you were there. Now you're not there. What's going on? Why can't the Cowboys get over the hump?
Well, I would say, Jerry's got a lot of wisdom. He and Steven do, and over the last 2 decades, there's been some really good ball clubs, and they just didn't get over the hump in those moments. But and when you don't, that criticism's going to come, and that's part of the gig. But you look back at it, and I was a part of a bunch of them, and since then there's been a couple of those teams, really good football teams, that didn't win the big games at crunch time. But so I think they feel like they have a formula. Now until you get over that hump, you're going to have some of that criticism to come. So how do you do that? You just got to play better in those moments. It's that simple. Of when you get in those games, you got to play your best football. And so I think that's why some people probably feel like it's not far off. And I'm sure they're recognizing the pieces they need to add to it. And I certainly will always pull for those guys.
So it's not a culture thing or something that needs to be changed inside how they do business in the locker room?
No, I don't think so at all. I think there may have been some teams over those last 2 decades that you would maybe say the culture could have been better, but there's probably some teams there where the culture was really good, and you said we can use a little bit more talent too.
Right.
And so I think that goes hand in hand. There's always things you want to add to your team, but I know there was some really, really talented teams that we were a part of that, that kind of bug that's kind of tied to that. So I think they're doing a lot of good things, and they know what's at stake. And I think they got the right makeup with critical players, starting with the quarterback.
Back to the Hall of Fame real quick.
Yeah.
Does it seem surreal that you and Dez and Sean Lee are eligible next year for Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
You play with those guys,
Yeah, there's an old saying that happens over a long period of time all of a sudden, and, great players. I'd be hard-pressed to think that there was a better receiver over that. I don't know exactly the numbers, but that 4 or 5 years in Dez, and I could probably say the same thing about Sean when he was healthy and playing. It's a nice little stretch there where he was as good as the best in the NFL. And so, you think back on those moments, you're like, man, if we could go back, but just great teammates, proud of those guys and what they're going to accomplish, wish them the best, on that journey as well.
Kellen was a teammate and coach when you played as well. Now he's a head coach. Did you first got around and think, okay, he'll be an NFL coach?
Yeah, I think so. I think Kellen was always the first thing I would say was the stage was never too big for him. You could see it early on as a backup, and then even when he became a quarterback coach and then the offense coordinator, he was confident in who he was. He didn't pretend to try to be somebody that he wasn't. I think he was always made himself accountable when you came up short. I thought he was really good at adjusting, a little bit, really smart, Rain Man-esque with coming up plays. And so I had some conversation with him in the last couple of weeks. I think he's just only evolved and grown and more equipped through his last couple of years to get him ready for this situation. So I think he'll do a great job. You look what he did in Philadelphia and, how well they played offensively and doing it a number of different ways, running the ball and taking shots. And so I think you always knew he was very composed and had the right makeup to be a great coach.
He tried to get you to come to New Orleans?
He did not, no.